we've got everything out of the box. You can see here that it comes complete with everything you need to install this on your truck. It comes with your side rails, of course the tonneau cover itself, also your rods for holding this open, all your clamps, your hardware for attaching it, your buckle ends, and your instructions. So let's get this onto the truck. All right, so the first step of the process of installing our cover is to first put the bulkhead seal on. And the way we're going to do that is make sure that the bulkhead is clean and dry, and then use like an alcohol prep pad or something like that on it to make sure you get any residue that might still be on there so this will stick well. And then just peel it back and then just line it up right against your bed rail cap on the edge of your bulkhead and just follow it along. Now, as you can see here, I didn't peel it all off. It's a good idea not to do that, because what'll happen is then this thing will start sticking to everything and it'll create a real hassle for you to put this on. So just take a little bit at a time like so. And then when you get to the end, you're gonna have some left over. That's okay. Just go ahead and cut whatever extra you have off. And that's it. We'll be ready to start putting the cover on. We've got our bulkhead seal on. We're ready to install our side rails. And first thing I want to do is put the tailgate up. And the reason why you want to do that is for spacing, to make sure that you have this correct and that it's not going to be slamming into the tailgate whenever you close the tailgate. Also, one other thing to keep in mind when you're putting this on is this big metal piece with the slot in it. You want to make sure that that is towards the cab and facing into the bed of the truck, and that'll let you know you have the rail on the right side. So we'll go ahead and set this up here. Make sure we got room at the back. Everything looks really good right there. So we can start attaching our clamps. And the way we're going to do that is make sure that when you install these that the bolt head faces inward and the nut is facing outward, so that way you can adjust them. Now the middle one here, you're going to want to put it as close to the center as you possibly can. And it's going to go right here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to snug that down a little bit till we get the other ones on, just to hold it up here. And we'll get the front one up here. Now it's important when you put these on to keep them straight, so that way the teeth can actually bite into the side of the rail inside here in order to tighten up properly and hold this down well. Now, what you may have to do when you do this is just push down on your rail here a little bit, and that'll help the seal get in place. It'll help put this rail right where it's supposed to go. So we're going to tighten this one up. Then we're going to move up here to the end by the tailgate, and we're going to attach this one. And we want to put this one as close to the tailgate as we possibly can. And then hold down on that as well. If you need to, you could get somebody to help you with that a little bit. And we'll get this one tightened up, and then we'll tighten up our center one. And after looking at this, it's not really spaced in the center, so we're going to move it down a little bit, get it more in the center of the rail rather than over the wheel well. You can double check this just to make sure that it's down flush on the seal, and it is, so we can tighten this one up. Now it's important when you get done with this and you have this attached to take a look at your rail and make sure that your rail is horizontal. Make sure this plate up here is horizontal. A good way to look at that is your bulkhead, and this one is totally even, so we know that it's installed properly. If it's tilted a little bit, you may have to move your clamp up or down, and that'll help adjust it so it sits in right. So that's how easy it is to put the rail on. I'm going to jump over and do the one on the other side. Attaches the same way, and then I'll show you what to do next. The next thing we're going to do is put our prop rods on. Very easy to do. You can see one end just has this cylindrical shaped end on it. The other one has this end that has like a hole in it there, and that's going to go right on here, and it just pushes right on there. So we have our tonneau, and what we want to do with it is set it up here onto the rails with the short flap facing towards the cab, and then we're going to simply roll that down on top of there and attach our hardware that actually holds this to the rails. So the next thing before we get our cover attached is to attach our buckle ends. And the way we're going to do that is we have these studs that are threaded. Those are going to go up from the bottom side underneath here. And then our buckle is going to go on here like so. And then we have Phillips head screws that we're going to put into there. Something to keep in mind here when you guys are doing this is do not use a screw gun on this, because if you do, you could damage the buckle and make it so that it's not usable. So just use a screwdriver and hand tighten them just enough to keep them from coming off. The next thing we're going to do then is we're going to attach these bumpers that came with it. And what these are for is so that when you open this up and it goes up against the back of the cab, it doesn't damage anything or break your window or anything like that. So we're going to peel this backing off, and then we're going to put this one right across the end on this side. And then we're going to put one in the center and one on the other side. And then I'll show you what we're going to do next. Now we're going to put our stud in that holds this to the rail, and just put the rubber washer on over top of this like so. Drop it down through the hole and through the slot in the rail, and then we're going to attach the rest of our hardware from the underneath side. What we're going to do is we have another rubber washer, a steel washer, and a lock washer, and we're going to put those on there just in that order. And then we're going to take our thumb screw and we're going to start our thumb screw up on there. Okay, once we have that started, then we're just going to tighten it up enough just so that it doesn't fall off of there. And we're going to double check and make sure that our alignment is correct on our cover before we tighten this up. So I'm going to put the one on the other side just like this. All right, so the next step is to attach our drain hoses to the stem on the end of our side rail, the drain stem, and then we're going to run them down and through the body plugs. Now some vehicles may have body plugs up higher. That's a lot nicer to deal with. And but what we have to do with these is you can do one of two things. You can either completely remove that, or you can drill a 7/8 inch hole through it and just route the tube into it. Well, on this one, we want to try and keep as much dirt out of this truck as we can, so we want to just drill a hole in there, and that's what I'm going to do here. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to attach the one on the other side the same way we did this one, and then we'll have this all ready to go. So our tubes are attached. We've got our bump stops on so that the back of our cab's protected. The only thing left to do then is to put our prop rods on, and the proper way to do that is you just unhook it from its spot where it sits. You put it up on here, you slide this piece down, and then you tighten this up. And what that will do is that will allow you to drive with this cover open so that it doesn't blow down and create some issues going down the road. So there we go. That's how that works. We're all set. Just want to close this up one more time just to double check everything, make sure everything is working properly. Now, something to keep in mind when you do close this up is that you may see that the seal may have some wrinkles and such in it. There's a couple options for you. One, you could just not worry about it, or you could, and it'll work its way out eventually in the sun, or you can take a hairdryer to it and just heat it a little bit to soften it, and it'll bring the wrinkles out. So there we go. All right, everything seems to be working good. Make sure our tailgate closes. And it does. All right, guys, there you go. Everything works like it's supposed to, fits nicely, looks great on the truck. That's how quick and easy it is to install this BakFlip MX4 tonneau cover onto your truck. So remember, until next time, happy motoring.